Resilient, loyal, balanced. What do you think about when you hear those three words? Well, it is extremely hard to be resilient in these days and times. Most people gravitate towards instant gratification. What about loyalty? Are most people loyal? Well, I'd say for the most, some are. But in actuality, when things get hard, people get moving. What about balance? Having a balance in terms of your health and your fitness, your mind, body, and soul, your spirituality, and also balanced relationships. Well, most people don't have those things. And Manny Pacquiao has all of those qualities. He's not only a boxer, but he is a humanitarian.
Manny's parents separated at a young age, and his mother Dionisia bore the burden of providing for her 6 children, 2 of them by a previous marriage. She ran a small sari-sari store, and her kids, including Manny, helped supplement their meager income by selling pandesal in the neighborhood. Manny was a good student, but his mother noticed that when he was in grade 5, he was getting interested in boxing. This upset her because she was hoping he would become a priest. But Manny knew there was no way his mother could pay for an education, and he made up his mind that his best chance would be to become a boxer. Dionisia relented.
I ultimately relented because I knew he was right about us being poor. I can sense his keen interest in boxing. He would wake us up at dawn and jog on his own to the plaza or the basketball court nearby. Then he'd start jabbing or punching the air.
At that time, Abner Cordero was a promising young amateur fighter from General Santos City, who made a name for himself battling boxers from the national team. Abner was trained by his father Dizon Cordero. After watching one of Abner's fights, Manny approached Dizon and asked him to train him, just like he trained his son.
Sensing his interest, I took him in. I was also glad to have Manny on board because I thought with Manny around, Abner would not slacken in his training. We would regularly train in my small house. I treated him as if he was one of my sons. I remember Manny at that time had no shoes. All he had was a pair of worn-out rubber slippers with holes. I was also poor then.
His poverty was not a drawback for Manny Pacquiao. It was his inspiration. He jogged barefooted at times, shadowboxed in a sandlot but never complained. After 1 month of training, Dizon Cordero figured Manny was ready for his first bout.
Life is hard, especially as a professional boxer. But you know, at the age of 16, he realized that this was his out. He allowed this to be the determining factor to take care of not only his family, not only his community, but his entire country. Well, that's a lot to put on anybody's shoulder and carry that burden and that weight around. And when I say burden, I don't mean it as a negative thing, but I mean it as a 16-year-old young man who is fixated on helping not only himself, but his country, his family, his community. That's a daunting task in itself. Along with his boxing career, Manny Pacquiao has twice been elected to the Philippine House of Representatives. Now, when we think of politicians, we think of someone that has rhetoric, a good mouthpiece, or someone is trying to convince you to do something that you may not want to do, or someone that may not be telling you the whole truth. But Manny Pacquiao, he's an individual that not only helped out his community, his family, but he also helped out his entire country.
Do you see any conflict between your faith and boxing?
God has a purpose. He bring me back into His kingdom to use me to glorify His name, to let the people know that there is God who can raise the people from nothing into something.
Pacquiao is painfully honest about how his life changed 4 years ago.
I want to have friends around me and drinking and have girls are beside me, and of course gambling.
But then he says he heard the voice of God in a dream.
I hate to do that anymore, and my heart is want to read the Bible, want to obey God, and that's my heart. That's how God changed my life.
You think about most people, most boxers that are out there. Mike Tyson, Lennox Lewis, great boxers. But the difference is that Manny had to take care of his country. Not to say he's a better person, but he is accountable for giving back. Manny Pacquiao, you are an American hero.